Chaos in Oklahoma. A devastating flood sweeps away vehicles and submerges numerous homes in Lawton City. Welcome everyone to the latest episode of the show Top Secret. The raging floodwaters, like a monstrous beast, descended upon the town of Lawton, Oklahoma, turning this peaceful city into a chaotic battlefield. Vehicles were swept away like toys, houses drowned in a sea of water, and terror crept into every heart. A person was forever swept away by the raging flood, leaving behind endless sorrow. What is happening in Lawton? Has this disaster ended, or is it just the beginning of an even more horrifying nightmare? Here are the natural English translations based on context. The city of Lawton, Oklahoma, USA, has been struck by a devastating flood, plunging the entire area into unprecedented chaos. The heavy rain poured down like a torrent, turning the streets into a sea of water, sweeping away vehicles and submerging houses beneath the churning white waves. The aftermath was heartbreaking. At least one person was swept away by the floodwaters and died. The scene in Lawton was nothing short of a real-life nightmare. The floodwaters rose rapidly, turning familiar streets into raging rivers, trapping residents inside their own homes. This flood is not just a tragedy for Lawton alone, but also a wake-up call for the entire state of Oklahoma, and even beyond. In just a few short hours, a massive downpour of up to 5 inches, 12.7 centimeters, drenched southwestern Oklahoma, triggering a sudden flash flood. The road was deeply flooded, with houses and shops completely submerged under the floodwaters. The villagers panicked, desperately trying to escape the raging flood. Rescue teams had to work non-stop, moving everywhere to save people trapped in cars or stuck in their homes due to floodwaters. The relentless, unending rain submerged Lawton in a sea of water, completely disrupting the daily lives of its residents. The images captured from the scene startled everyone. Vehicles float adrift on the floodwaters, trapped between streets now turned into rivers. The floodwaters rose high, reaching up to the windows and surging into the house, sweeping away everything inside. Even more terrifying, even police cars, specially equipped to handle emergencies, were powerless against the flood's devastating force. The police car was trapped in the floodwaters, becoming a stark image of human helplessness against the terrifying power of nature. This is not just an ordinary extreme weather disaster. It is a poignant warning about the ephemeral nature of human life in the face of the boundless power of creation. The residents of Tintay and neighboring areas endured terrifying moments, gripped by extreme fear. The pain of loss and the feeling of helplessness as the floodwaters rushed in too swiftly for them to react. Many families lost their lifelong savings in an instant, and cherished mementos filled with memories were mercilessly crushed and swept away by the floodwaters. Below, the once bustling streets were now just a churning, murky torrent, sweeping along mud and scattered debris. Yet, in the fragile boundary between life and death, the spirit of solidarity within the community shimmered like a faint light at the end of a dark tunnel. Local organizations quickly opened temporary shelters to accommodate residents evacuated from the danger zone. The St. Vathan Army Church in Lawton has become a safe haven for many families, offering them comfort and assistance in times of hardship. Rescue teams, despite the dangers, persevered tirelessly in their work, bringing hope to those who were trapped. Stories of their sacrifice and courage spread widely throughout the community, becoming a tremendous source of motivation amid the devastation and ruin. The flood in Lawton was not merely a weather phenomenon, but also a profound lesson on disaster preparedness and response. The passage shows that no matter how advanced humanity becomes, nature always has the power to deliver sudden, painful blows. Despite enduring immense losses, the Lawton community continues to demonstrate remarkable solidarity and resilience in overcoming adversity. The rescue efforts, the hands reaching out to lift each other up, all of it proves that even in the harshest circumstances, people can still find hope and rise from the rubble. The raging flood swept everything away, leaving nothing behind. It all began with the relentless, torrential rains that poured down on southwestern Oklahoma, fierce to the point of brutality. In just a few hours, a record-breaking rainfall of 12.7 centimeters completely overwhelmed the rivers, drainage systems, and canals in the area. The floodwaters rose at a dizzying speed, turning the usually bustling streets into raging, perilous rivers. Highway Y-44, one of the key transportation routes connecting cities in the region, has been severely flooded, especially near Exit 41. The floodwaters surged violently across the road, sweeping away mud and floating debris, rendering the road completely impassable. Many people were trapped in their cars, helplessly watching the floodwaters rise moment by moment. Houses near the low-lying area were quickly flooded, sweeping away furniture and belongings. The scene on the streets was horrifying. Small cars were swept away by the floodwaters, crashing into each other or trapped in deep, murky water. The Chevy Cruze was heavily flooded, with water rising up to the windows and pouring into the cabin, putting those inside in a dangerous situation. These images not only reveal the devastating power of the floods but also serve as a stark warning about the dangers of attempting to travel in extreme weather conditions. Other routes, such as National Highway SH7 in Lawton, have met the same fate. The Oklahoma Department of Transportation reports multiple flooded roadways, causing widespread traffic disruptions. People attempting to drive through flooded areas may face danger from being swept away by the water currents. A mere 15 centimeters of fast-flowing water is enough to make a car lose control, while in Lawton, water levels in many areas are several times higher than that. Amid the flooding situation, authorities have repeatedly warned residents to stay indoors and avoid dangerous areas. However, in the panic, many people still did not follow these instructions. The authorities have issued a flash flood warning for multiple areas, including Cleveland, Oklahoma, Comanche, Cotton, Greer, and Jackson counties. In areas such as southern Oklahoma City, Norman, Moe, and Noble, residents are warned to expect up to 3 inches of additional rainfall. This amount of rain is enough to trigger dangerous, life-threatening flooding in creeks, streets, and drainage systems. Although some roads, such as the 144 stretch near Medicine Park and U.S. Highway 62 in Lawton, have reopened after the water receded, the flood risk is not yet completely over. Many areas remain deeply flooded, while weather forecasts warn that heavy rain could persist for several more days. The chaotic traffic situation worsened when a truck overturned on the Y-44 highway in the northern area of Oklahoma City. The white car suddenly blocked multiple lanes, causing a severe traffic jam that stretched along the road between Pennsylvania Avenue and Clawson Avenue. Rescue teams had to work under extremely difficult conditions, dealing with landslides while trying to control the raging floodwaters. These efforts reflect their dedication, while also demonstrating the severity of the disaster. The floodwaters not only swept away vehicles but also dashed the hopes of countless people, leaving behind a scene of devastation and endless hardships ahead. Here are the English translation options based on the desired emphasis. Amid the raging flood that swept through Lawton City, rescue teams worked tirelessly, braving the dangers to save trapped residents. The Lawton Fire Department recorded dozens of rescue operations across the city, from heavily flooded streets to isolated residential areas. The brave firefighters battled through the raging floodwaters, using rescue boats and specialized equipment to reach those in need of saving. Many people were trapped in their cars as the floodwaters rose too quickly for them to escape. The water flooded into the house, submerging everything and putting the people inside in extreme danger. Stories of the rescue team's bravery quickly spread throughout the community, becoming beacons of hope amid the chaos and overwhelming despair. Every rescue mission is a race against time and the harshness of nature. The rescue workers struggled against the rushing currents, their visibility obscured by heavy rain and thick layers of mud. They used ropes, life buoys, and even sheer human strength to pull people out of cars swept away by the flood or houses on the verge of collapse. A witness reported that in a neighborhood near Lawton Center, a family of 4 was fortunately rescued in time as floodwaters rose up to their necks. The children were carried on the shoulders of the rescue workers, while their parents clung to safety ropes, walking and thanking those who had saved their families' lives. Still, not every effort bears fruit. A tragic accident occurred near the intersection of 2nd and Fan in Lawton, where a person was swept away by floodwaters. The unfortunate victim swept away by the current left behind endless grief for their family and community. This loss serves as a stark warning of the devastating power of floods. Just a moment of carelessness, like trying to cross a flooded road or ignoring a danger warning, can lead to unimaginable, irreversible consequences. The authorities continuously warn people to stay away from dangerous areas, while emphasizing that even a 15 centimeters deep fast-flowing water stream can submerge an entire car. Amid mounting hardships, the community's spirit of unity became the strongest foundation to rely on. Local organizations swiftly implemented measures to assist affected residents. St. Vincent Amy Church in Lawton has opened its doors as a temporary shelter, accommodating dozens of families who lost their homes or cannot return to their residences. Here, evacuated residents are fully supported with food, drinking water, warm blankets, and a place to rest. The volunteers worked tirelessly, from distributing essential supplies to offering emotional support to those who were anxious and confused. A single mother shared that she and her 2 young children nearly lost all their possessions. But the support of the volunteers made her feel less alone. The spirit of mutual support comes not only from organizations but also from the people of Lawton themselves. The neighbors help each other clean the flower beds, share food, and are even willing to open their doors to those in need of temporary shelter. Those small yet meaningful actions ignited hope, proving that no matter how harsh nature may be, humanity can overcome it through the power of unity. However, many challenges still lie ahead. Hundreds of families suffered losses, and the devastated infrastructure means recovery efforts will require significant time, resources, and perseverance. The consequences continue to spread, and the danger has not yet ended. The devastating flood in Lawton not only caused severe damage to the city but also had far-reaching impacts on many other areas across the state of Oklahoma. Grady, McLean, and Gavin counties also faced flash flood warnings as many roads were submerged under deep water, forcing rescue teams to operate at full capacity. In areas like Mall and Noble, within just a few hours, rainfall reached up to 5 centimeters, worsening the situation. The floods not only submerged roads but also devastated homes, businesses, and public infrastructure, causing estimated economic losses amounting to millions of dollars. Here are the 2 English translation options, choose one based on context. Many people got trapped in their cars while trying to drive through flooded areas, underestimating the water's force. Small businesses, already struggling to recover from the pandemic, are now facing even heavier losses. Many stores were devastated by the flood, with goods severely damaged, leaving business owners bewildered and unsure where to begin rebuilding. The infrastructure system, including bridges, roads, electricity, and water supply, was also severely damaged, making recovery efforts extremely challenging. Harsh weather not only causes floods but also brings many other dangers. Meteorologists forecast that the southeastern region of Oklahoma, including cities such as Ardmore, Ada, Durant, and McAllister, remains at a moderate risk of tornadoes. However, the greatest concern remains flooding, as forecasts indicate heavy rain will continue to pour down in the coming days. These rains could worsen the situation, especially in areas already severely affected by flooding. The streams and rivers in the area are already full of water. Even a small rain could trigger a flash flood. The scene in Lawton inevitably makes one think of similar disasters that have occurred in other states. In West Baton Rouge Parish, Louisiana, residents are facing severe flooding. Towns like Addis, Blackman, and Broodley were submerged in a sea of water, with homes and roads deeply flooded by the deluge. On social media, numerous videos are being widely shared, showing vehicles stuck in the floodwaters. The garden turned into a river, and the people could only helplessly watch as their belongings were swept away. A resident in Addis recounted helplessly watching floodwaters rush into his home, destroying belongings and posing a risk of electrical hazards. These images evoke deep empathy for the people of Oklahoma, who are enduring similar hardships. The floodwaters in Louisiana have started to recede, but the aftermath remains extremely severe. Many families lost their homes, businesses were forced to shut down, and communities faced a long road to recovery. The Louisiana government has distributed sandbags and advised residents to take precautions. But the drainage system cannot handle the excessive rainfall. The situation in Oklahoma is similarly unfolding, where rescue teams and local authorities are doing their utmost to minimize the damage. However, given the ongoing risk of flooding, both areas must remain highly vigilant to ensure the safety of lives and property for the residents. The spirit of unity to overcome difficulties together. Amid the devastating floods, the spirit of mutual aid and compassion among the people of Oklahoma and Louisiana shines like a warm flame, dispelling the darkness. In the city of Lawton, organizations such as the Red Cross and the Governor's Office of Homeland Security promptly implemented many practical support programs. Bring hope to the people who are bearing the heavy consequences. The volunteers worked tirelessly, distributing sandbags to combat the floods, providing food and clean water, and helping residents clear the debris left by the flooding. Heartwarming stories of human kindness have spread throughout the community, like neighbors willingly opening their doors to welcome one another and share shelter. Or the locals quietly helping each other repair damaged houses. Those actions, though small, ignited a flame of hope, helping the people of Lawton feel that they were not alone in their hardship. A typical example is the family in Lawton, whose home was completely swept away by the flood. The mother, who works as a grocery store salesperson, said she and her children lost everything, from money to precious keepsakes. In their desperate hour, they were fortunate to be taken in by a kind neighbor, who gave them shelter and even shared what little food they had. Even strangers from the neighborhood brought clothes, warm blankets, and toys for the children, helping that family get through the difficult early days. Stories like these are not just proof of compassion but also become a tremendous source of motivation, reminding us that even in adversity, people can draw strength from the spirit of solidarity. Mayor David Toops of Eddies, Louisiana, shared the challenges residents face as the drainage system struggles to handle the extreme rainfall. The town's streets were flooded like rivers, houses submerged in a sea of water, leaving many families with nothing after years of saving. However, he affirmed that it was the people's persistent and unwavering spirit that helped them overcome all difficulties. Despite suffering heavy losses, the people of Eddies remained united, joining hands to rebuild their homeland. Volunteer groups voluntarily organize street cleanups, help repair homes, and share resources with those in need. A local resident recounted that when the floodwaters rushed into their home, the neighbors helped him move his belongings to higher ground, saving some of his possessions before the flood swept everything away. These efforts not only focus on addressing immediate consequences but also demonstrate a determination to rebuild sustainable lives. Organizations like the Red Cross have established numerous relief centers to promptly assist affected communities. A place that not only provides essential goods but also offers emotional support to those affected. The volunteers, whether young or elderly, tirelessly work day and night to ensure no one is left behind. In both Oklahoma and Louisiana, people have proven that no matter how harsh nature may be, the spirit of unity and kindness will always prevail. However, the difficulties are not over yet. Weather forecasts warn of prolonged heavy rain, forcing Oklahoma and Louisiana to remain on high alert. The authorities advise people to regularly check weather forecast updates. Avoid passing through flooded areas and strictly follow safety guidelines. A resident in Lawton recounted that he nearly lost his life while trying to drive through a flooded road. "I had no idea the floodwaters would be this powerful." Stories like these remind us that carelessness, even for just a split second, can lead to unforeseeable consequences. The community faces a long road to recovery ahead, but with a spirit of unity, they are confident they will overcome all challenges. A wake-up call from the power of Mother Nature. The devastating flood in Lawton and its surrounding areas serves as a stark warning of nature's unpredictable power. The passage also emphasizes the need for thorough preparation to handle emergency situations. Climate change is increasing the frequency and severity of extreme weather events such as floods, tornadoes, and storms. The shattered houses, the roads swept away by floods, and the pain etched in memory, all will take a long time to heal. The people of Lawton are going through a long and difficult journey to gradually return to normal life. Many families lost their homes, their possessions, and even priceless mementos that can never be replaced. A local resident lamented that his home, where his family had lived for 3 generations, was now just a pile of rubble buried in mud. The old streets where children once played are now flooded with debris and dirty water. Small businesses, already struggling to stay afloat, now face an even greater risk of bankruptcy due to the severe impact of flooding. Amid countless losses, the indomitable spirit of humanity still shines brightly. Stories of the silent sacrifices made by rescue teams, and the helping hands extended by neighbors, and the relentless efforts of the community have ignited hope that Lawton can rise from the ashes. Moreover, this dike is a call to action for everyone. The passage reminds everyone to be more aware of the consequences of climate change and to join hands in protecting the environment. To effectively respond to emergencies, we must prepare more thoroughly, from building resilient infrastructure systems to raising community awareness. This is an issue that demands top priority. The authorities in Lawton are reviewing the drainage system and emergency response plans to minimize potential future damage. However, this is not only the responsibility of the government but also the duty of every citizen. Small actions like conserving resources, participating in environmental protection activities, or simply following weather advisories can bring about significant positive changes. The flood fight in Oklahoma is not just a disaster, but also a meaningful lesson in resilience and faith in the future. However harsh nature may be, humanity can always overcome it with kindness and the strength of unity. In Lawton, the people are joining hands to restore every home, every street, and every wounded destiny. Stories of mutual aid, from sharing a meal together to joining hands in clearing debris, have proven that even in the darkest moments, a glimmer of hope always remains. Whether in Lawton or anywhere else in the world, that spirit will forever be a guiding torch, helping humanity overcome all of nature's challenges. Thank you for watching until the end. See you next time.